Like, I don't mind, like, a little messiness. Like, it's fine if our apartment looks like people live there. Like, like that's fine with me. Don't be nervous.
Okay. Hello everyone, welcome to Sharon Shines, and today I am so excited. I'm welcoming on this episode my two roommates as we talk about our journey as we studied abroad as roommates. We stayed together, we got on each other's nerves. But they will tell you about their experiences and we'll talk about it in a chit-chat manner. We just look around. Some people might confess, we listen, we don't judge.
We
Yes.
listen and
we don't judge. Yes. But let's give it up for Nadine and Kennedy. Would you like to introduce yourself, guys?
Yeah, sure. So, as Sharon said, I'm Nadine. I'm 21 years old, and I'm from Germany.
Yeah, I'm Kennedy. I'm 22. And I'm from the US, and I go to the same university in the US as Sharon.
So excited. Let's go into it, guys. Nadine studies you study in the Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So more or less, we're international students. We're studying in Australia together. We took a study abroad semester, and basically, I don't think I knew I was gonna have roommates before I came here.
Interesting.
I just knew I was gonna live in an sort of like an apartment or like a place that was off campus but still close on campus. So let's just talk about sort of like our expectations before we came here. What was your expectation of your study abroad experience? Did you plan to have roommates and why?
Yeah, I can start. So I knew from the beginning on that I would be having roommates, and I liked the idea and I preferred it even that way. Like, I'm a person, I hate being by myself all the time, and then I just I'm a bit introverted, so I tend to be more by myself, but I need to push myself to be outside with people sometimes, and being with roommates just helps me because I have my own space, my own room most of the times. And I can just go out into the common area and maybe somebody else is there cooking. I can just talk to them. And that's a really nice experience for me, especially when I get along with my roommates, which happens most of the time. Like, I rarely have any kind of bad experiences with my roommates. Yeah, that's why I even looked out for that I would be having roommates here in Australia, because when I came here, I know I would know nobody. Like, I knew I would know nobody. And that's why I really wanted to make sure that I have a few people I can confide in, I can talk to them, even if I don't know anybody else in this whole country.
I had a similar experience and expectation in that I knew that I wanted to have roommates. And so I also was I didn't 100% know if we were going to either be in the apartments or in university college, but I selected the apartments as my first choice, partially because we are all on the older side of a lot of the people who live in the Australian on-campus housing are first years, so they're 17 and are living alone for the first time. And that, I think, would not have suited me super well. I think that was not exactly an atmosphere that I wanted to place myself in, 24/7. I've been there. I've already done it.
You don't need to have it again.
I don't need to do it again. So I definitely was excited to have off-campus housing where I knew I would have roommates that were probably a bit more similar in age to myself, or at least have a more similar lifestyle to what I'm used to having. And I think also similar to Nadine, I think it's really helpful for me. I like having roommates. I'm also a little bit more on the introverted side. I don't have a problem going out to socialize, but it's just nice for those days that I don't want to still have human interaction.
Yeah.
And not have to go out to seek that when it's, even if it's just little passing hey, I see you in the kitchen kind of vibe. It's just nice to have somebody there.
That's true.
especially after my first year of college, I lived alone. So I also like moved across the country, didn't know anyone, and lived alone. And that was like not amazing. It was just like it was hard, especially at first, because you don't know anyone and you don't have anyone like everyone else with roommates. You just go out with your roommates because you kind of know these people now. Like you live together, you always have someone you can like knock on the door and be like, hey, like, do you want to go do this? Yeah. Whereas like when you live alone, it's a lot more difficult to like find people, or like at the start especially, to like go out and hang out with and like see things with. So I knew that I wanted to have roommates when I came here.
Yeah. Wow.
Definitely.
I mean, I would say similar to you guys, like I knew that having roommates would be an advantage, especially just moving somewhere that you know for sure that I don't know nobody. Yeah. But there was a part of me that was like, I'm not sure like about the people that I'll be roommates with. Would they be clean? Would they be? I remember having a call with one of my friends. I think the first day or so. I think it was the first day, and she was like, "So did you guys talk about the rooms?"
Important.
Yeah. So, what were your first initial thoughts when you got here? That you were like, Of course, I'm excited about having roommates, and it will be an advantage to have some people that are like closer to you when you're abroad. But what were your sort of like your reservations to things you were like, I hope they are not like this?
I hope they aren't like this.
Yes.
I think like messiness is always like a big deal. If it's like really bad, like really bad, then it's a problem. But if it's like I don't mind like a little messiness. Like it's fine if our apartment looks like people live there. Like, like that's fine with me. I also think I feel like it's not as common, but if it's someone who like how often are they having people over? Like, do I like the people that they're having over? You know what I mean? Like, do they like respect boundaries of like, hey, I'm like trying to sleep, or if like I have an assignment or something, or it's like if they're just bringing like loud, rowdy people around like all the time, then you're like, hey,
like chill bit, just please.
But I don't think like I think we all had a pretty like. We didn't have any problems with that.
No. I mean, if we did, we wouldn't be sitting here together.
So, guys, about it. No.
But I think those are, like, the biggest concerns for, like, me when I'm having roommates that, like, I don't know super well. It's just, like, will we be, like, compatible in that way?
Yeah.
That's true.
Like, for me, it's definitely similar. Like, when I live somewhere, I need to feel comfortable there. I need to feel safe there. It's my safe place because going outside is already like exciting enough. So I want to just have like a chill place where I can just relax. And that obviously like connects to my roommates. And I just feel like I can tolerate a lot of things like messiness or loudness or like even a party or whatever. But what I would like to have is definitely a person I could talk to if there would be like a problem occurring. And like a person who would accept also my boundaries. But like, yeah, I get that it was a bit loud. I will do it better next time or whatever. Exactly. Just like if something occurs, I would love to have the connection with somebody to talk about it. And that is like the most important thing for me, because then if you communicate with each other, you can like handle so many things, you can solve so many issues. And I think that's one of the most important factors when coming to roommates for me.
So Nadine, sorry to put you on the spot.
No worries.
But when we came through the same program.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was me, Kennedy, and Naomi, our other roommate. She's not around at the moment. And we had already sort of like warmed up to each other.
Spent a good 3 days.
Yes.
In the gong together.
That was a good experience.
That was a bonding experience for sure.
But yeah, we had bonded and we had known each other. So we also had like other people. And you came and that was like later on some days after.
Yeah.
Well, what were your initial thoughts when you came and these people have invited a lot of people? I think during the
we had so many. We had like our whole program group, just like in our apartment became the place to be.
Yeah, I know. I even referred to it as like the headquarters. In my head, it was like, okay, headquarters is full again.
No, like headquarters is full again.
We were headquarters.
What were your thoughts with that and your experience with that as well?
So like I met like the three of you like the first time after like I came here. I was actually like a bit like scared or like insecure about it, like because I felt like we didn't have a lot of similarities. Like I come from a different continent, I study in a different country, I'm not like doing the same programs, so they're not even going to the same university here. It's like, how am I gonna connect to those people if I have zero similarities and they all know each other? So I felt like a bit, oh, maybe I cannot connect to them, but that's it. It worked out.
It did.
I just had to really like make sure I didn't like overthink it, because most of the time it's not an issue. Like if I'm nice, if you're nice, and it worked out at the end. But that was like my initial like thoughts like on the first evening. But then I realized all of you were so nice. So that was really, really nice. And what was your other question? Do you have an?
Did I? I'm not sure. I don't know.
I covered it.
I think I think you
okay,
might.
sorry. Yeah.
You covered everything that I might have asked, and you mentioned something about overthinking it, and especially with that, I feel like even with my past experiences with friendships and roommates, things, I think when you start to overthink things and you don't talk about it, like in that moment, that might cause a lot of friction with the
if everyone just like bottles in like everything, or if they're just like, I didn't like that they did that, or like I wonder what they meant by that. It's like, if everyone's doing that, it's not gonna work.
No, it's not gonna work out.
It's not gonna work.
It's just miscommunication.
Exactly.
And like, oh, I thought you would think that of me, and then like this, like, no, I never thought that, I never said that.
Yeah. One other thing that I might ask is, when we think about having roommates, especially let's say international students that are coming from like an African country, an Asian country, or something like that, there's this issue to do with like culture. And so there's like differences in culture, differences in religion, differences in a lot of things. What would you say would be something that helps with bridging that gap between culture and being at a place that is far away from home, and you're trying to make roommates, your friends, and trying to get to know them?
I feel like you guys are gonna probably have a little bit more experience with that than I do, but
I mean, for me, it's always, I mean, the difference between the Netherlands and Germany is not that big, but I feel like I can say a bit about like cultural differences also to Australia, because it's slightly different from Germany. Like, I always feel like you need to ask questions, and you don't need, like, you shouldn't assume something, because just assuming something like that really like is like the ground for miscommunication. I feel like, especially when you have roommates that are from a completely different culture, you might misunderstand some behaviors or some things that are perceived to be polite in one culture but perceived to be rude in another culture. So I always want to be open-minded, but that's like connected to asking questions and not just keep quiet about it, like thinking for yourself, oh, what did she mean with that? Or, oh, that was so rude of her to say. Like, maybe like, oh, why did you say that? Like, how did it come? And then the other person is like, oh yeah, in my culture actually it's like this and this and this. I'm like, okay, yeah, it wasn't meant to be rude or anything like that. Like, be open-minded, ask questions. If you ask questions to somebody, you let them think that you are interested. Like, asking questions is, I don't think, ever perceived as being rude. So
it's
that's
like,
what
if
I
you're
learned.
intimidated about asking those questions, I feel like most of the time people are going to be happy to answer them. Most of the time. Like, especially like people you're living with, I feel like you kind of have a mutual understanding that you're trying to like make it work. No matter what, even if you aren't like best friends, like you want to have a nice experience. And so it's like you said, I feel like if people like people will feel like, oh, like they're interested in in me and like where I'm from.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to like answer those questions.
Yeah. I think that's so true. I think you guys did a really great job with that. Looking back, I think Nadine always asks questions, actually, which is like, she'll be like, oh, your hair. Like, what happened? You know, not like in a way where you feel like, oh my gosh, I have to explain myself again about my hair or something. But she'll genuinely ask, like, you know, I want to know.
Yeah.
You know, all these things. Can you explain? Can you walk me through it? How does it happen? Why is it like this? In a way where you feel like, wow, she really wants to learn, and I would love to teach this person. But I would say sometimes, like, these things, someone will ask a question that is, I don't know, close-ended in a way. Like, where you're like, oh, you have already made up your
Yeah,
mind.
you're already assuming something and
Yes.
just asking questions to get like this approval or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that may make things like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to be asked something like that.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. It depends how you ask the questions. If they're like kind of like, yeah, I get what
And
you
I do
mean.
think you're really good at that.
Thank you.
You're really
Thank you so much. I try my best.
She's really good at asking those questions. I've learned a little bit as well in like asking questions, because I think I'm also interested in like being able to ask the right questions, because I think that's sort of like the doorway that opens up a lot of connections.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think we are almost coming to an end of our videos. So do you have any advice that you might want to give to international students specifically, since I'm more focused on that as well, that are coming over to study abroad, especially in the US or Canada, that are coming to study abroad, maybe in Germany, in the Netherlands, or in Australia, since we met in Australia. What advice would you give students that are coming over? Should they pick roommates? Should they come prepared to have roommates? What should they look forward to? What would you advise them?
So maybe if you are really studying abroad in a country you have never been to and you don't know anybody in, like you don't know any other person, I would definitely like suggest you to get a roommate. Like, because you can feel very lonely in the country.
Yeah.
You don't know the culture. Maybe you don't even know the language. And you cannot connect to anybody in this country because maybe university like clubs don't support you for not speaking the language of the country. Like it can be really, really hard making friends if you are abroad. I feel like if in the beginning of it at least.
Yeah.
So
Like,
having roommates can
is
really
like pivotal at the start.
yeah, definitely. So that like would be my advice. I know some people prefer not to have roommates at all. They say I'm happy living by myself, but for me personally, it was always so important to have people I can just randomly talk to, even though I'm completely new in the country.
Still on that, what would you say for people that have had terrible roommate experiences? You get to the room, they're quiet, headphones in, they don't talk to you, they don't say hi. It's like people that will say, I had a roommate, but I felt more alone than I could have if I didn't have a roommate.
Yeah. Luckily, I've never experienced that. And I feel like it's always very easy to say if you have never experienced that, like, oh, just communicate with each other and then every problem will be solved. Like, that's probably unrealistic. I'm not really sure if I have an advice on that. Maybe if it's really, really bad, like, try to move out, look for a different person. Just to people who just cannot connect with each other, with all just human beings. And it's probably then not on a personal level, but just it didn't work out, it doesn't work out, and then it's like both bad for both of you or like for the whole group maybe even. So yeah.
It's like I also haven't had exactly that experience or anything really terrible, but I would imagine part of it, sometimes you just have to accept that like you and your roommate might like you're probably not going to be like best friends, and that's okay. Don't worry if you aren't like the best of friends or if you don't click super well. You can always look for new roommates once you've kind of established yourself a little bit and like plug into clubs. Get hobbies.
Yeah,
find people who have common interests with you.
Yeah.
Meet people with common interests and common values, and like those are the people moving forward. You're gonna have more roommates if you don't click with your first one.
Yeah,
it's gonna be okay. Or your first set of roommates. Like, it can be really tough at first, but sometimes you just have to accept and not force that relationship either, and just be like, okay, I've tried.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work. And that's okay. You're gonna find better people and a better fit, for sure.
That's true.
That's very true, yeah.
And as for the advice?
Other advice? Definitely, I think it's important to, like, get a grasp on, like, boundaries of what you're looking for, like, maintaining your space, those expectations. I think it's really big also to, like, talk about who, like, always let your roommates know if you're bringing people over.
Yeah.
Like, just, like, say who's coming, help introduce it, make sure it feels like a shared space and not, like, disproportionately, like, possessed by one person who's, like, always in your common space, always has friends over that, like, maybe your roommates, like, don't know, or, like, those kinds of things. Help invite your roommates into what you're doing, and hopefully they will also do that, like, vice versa.
That's true.
So it's like, you don't all have to be best friends, but, like, I think it's important that you realize that you share a space and hopefully can actually share that space and, like, parts of your lives together.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Wow. Thank you so much, guys. That was said perfectly. And I don't think there'll be any other thing that we might need to cover on this, but I just want to say thank you to you guys. Thank you for the experience that you have given me of Australia, that I think whenever I think about Australia, it'll always be tied to my roommates as well.
Yes.
That this experience was really fun, cooking in the kitchen and someone popping out and I'm like, what are you making? And sharing food with Kennedy. I could share food with you as well. Because
Sharon's a great chef.
thank you. I didn't think I made good food though, but I was just like, you know what?
I enjoyed it every time. It was always excellent. It always smelled great whenever I passed by.
But yeah, be intentional in what you choose, especially when you're studying abroad. It really helps. I mean, it might not be the same experience as ours, but it really helps to have roommates when you are studying abroad, at least, because every one of you is looking for that connection. That other thing that we are all international students. We just came here for one semester. We are looking to have friends.
It's like, that's a big thing for study abroad specifically, is like, you're all in the same experience. Like, you're all probably gonna have a somewhat similar mindset of, like, you're trying to meet people. Like, you all don't know people here.
And sometimes you end up being travel buddies. We had a trip together once.
Yes, we did. And it went well.
It really went well.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
So, you know what? Get roommates. I'm telling you. In short, get roommates. We had a good experience, especially if it's for a short period of time, because you don't have enough time to get to know other people as well as you know, like, your roommates to some extent. You might meet other people and you'll travel with them. I think we've also met other people and we've traveled with other people as well. But that experience of you having a constant family that you go back to after a long day, it really helps, and
It's
it
such a
gives
big
you
deal.
a good stability. So whatever you choose as you study abroad, as you go and have that, what do you call it, adventure, you know, I really hope you get to have good roommates as we have. So thank you so much for watching Sharon Shines, and I want you guys to like, subscribe, and comment down below your roommate experiences, the things that you've experienced, just to help other people that are deciding whether they should have roommates or not. And also comment some topics that you would want to see here as we talk about all things international student, all things international in this series, at least. It's not going to be the same always, but for now, we're talking about international life. See you